Today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Biergarten. This was a game I kickstarted a while ago and finally got to play it for the first time a few days ago. And I learned something new about myself when I played this game. Maybe I knew it before, but I fully realized it really when I was thinking about this video, which is that my favorite mechanism in this game is that it presents something that's very challenging, something specific that I'll go into in a second. Presents an option that is very challenging, that essentially takes the whole game to achieve, but I imagine it is very satisfying to achieve, and even if you don't achieve it, or if you get close, and even if you don't win, it feels good that you tried to do this difficult thing. So in Biergarten, it's essentially a tile laying game, but with cards, and you're putting these cards on the table and matching them up in different ways. There are umbrellas. This isn't a great example, but you're kind of pairing these shields, if you can, these coats of arms together to get bonus points if you match colors and whatnot. And there are a few different ways that you score. You can score by matching colors, like I just said. You can score. I forget exactly how this one works. It's something about getting like a certain number. Yeah, it's about getting groups of umbrellas of the same colors. But here's the really hard one. There's one other way to get points, and in this game you usually end the game with a little over 15 points, like 15 points is the end game trigger. I mentioned that because the big goal is worth 6 points, and this goal is to get a fully enclosed Biergarten. So fully enclosed Biergarten using these walls. So you can see this one has walls around that side and the other side, that side. This one has walls on either side. So you have to fit these together in such a way that you complete the wall. And you only have limited exposure to cards. You're only seeing a few cards on the table. You have some cards that you built, few in hand. So this is not an easy task. This is very, very difficult to build this wall. I spent my entire game trying to build a wall around my city. And the game gives you various ways to be flexible in this, because you see those other cards. You can not only place cards, but on your turn you can actually like swap cards that you've already placed, so you get some flexibility, but it is still extremely difficult. I spent my entire game trying to do it. I did not pull it off, so I can only imagine that it would have been satisfying doing it. But this is my main memory about the game, that I tried to achieve this unachievable goal, this very difficult goal. And I had a great time playing the game to try to achieve that goal, even though I didn't win. I didn't come close to winning. So that's what I learned about myself in this. And I was thinking, that's pretty cool. Like, that's pretty cool that this game gave me a really hard thing to try to do, even though it may not be a winning strategy, but it gave me a hard thing to try to do and gave me the opportunity to feel satisfied by pursuing or achieving this goal. And I was looking at some other games in my collection to see if any others do this. I saw Clank over there. So in Clank, you're delving down into this dungeon, and the deeper you go, the better the treasure you can get. And there's a 30 value treasure in that dungeon that you can see. You know exactly where it is. It is the hardest one to get, and you have to get it and run out of the dungeon for it to even count, or get above ground for it to count, and get out of the dungeon for it to really optimize it. I love that. It's really, really hard. But it feels great to say, I'm going after that 30-point goal. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to try to do it. Another one is Jamey, one of my favorite worker placement games. Jamey has these 4 different types of goal cards. Green's easy, yellow's a little harder, reds are hard, and blacks are really, really difficult. Like, you might spend your entire game going after one of these goals. And so it's a lot of fun to go out. I really like to get one or two even of those the black goals to go after them. And there's one of the goals that even ends the game immediately. I think if you kill the emperor, it's the goal of like killing the emperor or the emperor's son. If you do that, the game ends immediately, and it's the hardest one of all. I've gotten that in one of my games, and I can't remember if I actually achieved it, but I know that I spent the whole game focusing everything on going after that card. And I love that the game gave me that opportunity it gave me something really hard, really difficult, almost impossible to do, but gave me the tools to go for it, to try to get it. So yeah, I've never really thought about that type of mechanism in this context before, when I didn't realize how much I really enjoyed it. If you have an example of games that do this, games that offer you the unachievable goal that's just out of your reach, but maybe in your reach, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thanks.